I was watching a really good movie the other night, and maybe not everybody would enjoy this type of movie, but I believe it was called Too Big to Fail, and it was a really good movie. It wasn't a documentary; it was literally a scripted movie with actors, all about the start of the most recent depression of our economy or downslide of our economy, or whatever you want to call it. That started in 2008. And it was all about the government bailout of some of the banks and the assistance of AIG when after the bottom fell out of the real estate market and the whole financial crisis that we went through. And it made me think of things like why aren't you rich already? And I have listened over the years to so many people just use one excuse after another about why they can't make the money they want to make and why they're stuck where they're at. And let me back off. Well, hold on. Let's stop the train here just for a second and say, welcome to another episode of Your Success at Last DNA. I'm your host. Yep, you know who I am. Tracy the Ace Brinkmann. I want to be that ace up your sleeve, giving you that little daily motivational boost, that oomph, those tips, those techniques are going to help you get to the life that you dream, desire, and deserve. But anyway, back to the movie. And what I was talking about, how everybody has these little excuses. And don't get me wrong, I'm not rich. I live in a nice home. I have a decent car. I have a nice car. Have one decent car and one nice car. How about that? My family really doesn't hurt for anything. When we need some food, we can go buy it. Most recently, my wife and my daughter wanted to go down and visit my oldest daughter, my granddaughter, down in Atlanta, and I was able to send them down there, and it's nice. I've been better off than I am right now, and trust me, I've been way worse off than I am right now. There's been times in my life when I had a whole lot more money than I have today, and wasn't quite as happy. And there's been times when I've had a whole lot less money and was way happier. So really, I guess rich comes in multiple variations. You can be rich of the heart and poor of the wallet, and there's a certain amount of goodness that comes with that. But I mean, like Zig Ziglar says, I've had money and I haven't had it, and it's much easier to have it. But I wanted to chat with you really about there's laws, and one of them is called the law of abundance. And early on in my self help journey, I got one of the programs from Tracy way back when, and it's called the Laws of Success. I believe that was the name of it. I don't have it sitting in front of me in my cabinets to my library are closed, so I can't see the actual name of it. But one of the laws is the law of abundance, and the law of abundance tells you really that there's plenty of money for everybody who knows the rules of the game on how to get it and how to keep it. See, we literally live in a universe, a world of abundance where there's plenty of money to go around for anybody who wants it and is willing to play within the rules governing how to get it and how to keep it. Now, there are lots of folks out there that can go and get money, but then the next thing you know, they're broke. I mean, you hear the stories about people that win the lottery, and then a year, two, maybe 3, 4 years later, they're broke again. All their money's gone. They've squandered it. They weren't ready for it. They weren't obeying the laws of abundance. You see, you really can have everything you want. You really can. And I'm going to repeat it. There's plenty of money out there to be had. There's no shortage. You can virtually create everything that you need. We live in this generous universe, as I keep saying, and we're surrounded on all sides by blessings, right? And this is where your gratitude is going to come into play. And I've mentioned this on a number of episodes. Your gratefulness towards what you have, no matter how small, is one of the things going to help you get more. And there are opportunities beyond measure that you acquire if you truly desire. Now, one of the guiding principles of this, I'll call it one of the, I don't know, machines inside the mechanism, one of the mechanisms inside the machine is your attitude. You can have an attitude of abundance or an attitude of scarcity when it comes to money. And this, my friends, is going to have a major impact on how rich you are. And of course I'm talking monetary just for a moment here. And some people say money's bad. I don't think money's bad. I think, maybe how some people use money is bad, right? Or how some people go after acquiring money is bad. If you're going after getting money to the detriment of other people, that's bad. If what you're selling is hurting people, that's bad. If you're providing value to the marketplace, if you're providing value to your customers and you're charging a fair price, you could be charging above market price as long as your customer is getting above market value from it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's capitalism at its finest right there. So it's all about that attitude of scarcity or abundance. If you're giving killer value, then you will make killer money. So let's talk about that attitude for a little bit, right? One of the first correlations you're going to have to make that people become wealthy because they decide to become wealthy. I'm going to be rich, and that's all there is to it. I am sick and tired of being poor. Whatever phrase you want to put to it, and I know so many of us say it, but so many of us get stuck into the, oh God, I'm so broke. See, that's the attitude of scarcity. If your view changes to, I need more money, how can I provide value to get that money? God, see, now you're starting to shift. And there's folks out there become wealthy because they believe in their ability to do just that. They believe in that ability to generate wealth. I've read, I've read a number of books, and one of the universal statements I read across a number of these books of folks that, the rags to riches stories, the Zig Ziglars of the world, the Anthony Robbins, the Brian Tracys, the Jim Rohns, they say in different words in their programs and in their books that earning their first million, it wasn't about making the money. Now, mind you, now that they're millionaires, it's easy to say that. But the lessons they learned in the process of earning that first million helped them realize that now they have the attitude of abundance. And if they lost it all, they can go do it again. Okay? So now they had that attitude and gratitude. So now it's become easy for them because they believed this completely and they acted accordingly. They took consistent action. They took all the necessary actions to turn their beliefs into realities. And you can always tell what your beliefs really are when you look at the actions you take. Huh? There's really no other way. You can tell yourself, I'm going to be so rich someday. But if you're sitting on your haunches in front of the TV, eating TV dinners or whatever it is you happen to be munching on, sipping a beer or a soda pop or just drinking water, watching sitcoms and reality television and not doing anything towards making yourself rich, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You're not going to get rich. You're not. It's just not going to happen. Let's be honest. That's one of the things I'm always going to try to be is real, right? If you do nothing, what do you get? Yeah, that's right. You get nothing. Now, the second thing you got to know about this is people are poor because they've decided not to be rich. Wow, right? Some things are just too simple to deny. The folks that decide to be rich and take action consistently, guess what? They become rich. And rich to them could be $100,000 a year. Rich to them could be $1 million a month. Whatever it is to them, that's what they decided to be, and they became it. The rest, yeah, they're poor because they decided not to become rich. It's really that simple. So take a minute and examine your own thinking. In the book The Instant Millionaire, Mark Fisher, I believe, was the author of that. The old millionaire asked the boy who sought out his advice, he asked him, how do I become a millionaire? Why aren't you rich already? I said that a little bit confusing. So a little boy sought out the millionaire's advice, and he asked him how to become a millionaire. And the millionaire told him, why aren't you rich already? That's the question you need to ask yourself, right? That is really a very important question. If you want to be rich, then the question to ask yourself is, that's right, why aren't you rich already? However you answer this, and whatever the answer you give yourself, it's going to be very, very revealing. It's like yesterday's episode when I said, stand in front of the mirror naked, right? And look at yourself. From a physical aspect, ugh, man, I gotta fix this, I gotta fix that. Well, this is kind of a financial, why aren't I rich already kind of nakedness. Stand in front of your financial mirror, stand in front of your money mirror, and look at yourself and ask yourself that question. Why aren't I rich already? The answers are going to expose to you probably some self-limiting beliefs, some doubts, maybe a few fears. And remember, fear is nothing more than false evidence appearing real. Right? I've talked about that one before. And I heard another one, another funny one not too long ago. It's forget everything and run. Right? Forget everything and run. Fear. Anyway. It's going to reveal to you some excuses. You know you're making excuses. I make excuses. The guy driving in the car next to you makes excuses. You're going to come up with some rationalizations. Don't say that too fast. And you're going to come up with some justifications. Well, here's the reason it is this way. This is how, I just can't. I don't have the time. These people that become rich, they make time. I know a gentleman who does what I'm doing right now, and he's making bank doing this. He'll have 35,000 people listening to his free Monday show, right? And now he charges, I don't know, I believe it's like 19 bucks a month. And so if he's got 35,000 people listening on his free Monday show, imagine how many people are paying him that 19.95 a month. A lot. I don't know what the number is, but I guarantee you it's a lot. And he started it off, I think it was 7 years ago, while he was working, extra hours. He would go home, he'd do his job, and he'd go home, and he'd work into the wee hours of night, trying to figure out how to make this podcast thing work. What kind of content was his customers looking for? How could he get it out to them? How can he get them to start paying for it? Right? He did it. He made the time. He got rid of the excuses. He faced his fears, faced his self-limiting beliefs, chipped away at his doubts, and forgot all those justifications, rationalizations, and he took the action. Right? Now, would he say he's rich? I don't know if he'd say he's rich. He's probably rich by some people's standards. He's very well off, and he does great things. I know because I listen to his show, and he shares some of them. Review your reasons. Go over your reasons. Why aren't you rich? Write them all down. Write down all the reasons that you can think of. Go over your answers one by one with someone that you trust, someone that you can confide in, and ask them for their opinion. Tell them you just don't whitewash it. I've got 2 friends in my life that I know I can ask that question, and I'll get some real answers. And I've done it a couple of times, and sometimes it's a little, ow, that kind of hurt a little bit, but it's real. And if you want to be real with yourself and really want to grow, that's the place to go. You'll probably be surprised to find out the answers are most likely excuses that you, I don't know, covet the most. Maybe you even love them. They're like a warm, fuzzy blanket on a cold, chilly night. You wrap yourself up in them and say, this is my comfort zone. Right? Whatever your reasons or excuses are, you got to get rid of them. You got to open up that blanket. Let the warmth of the fire get to you, right? Let the fire of life light up. Heck, light your own fire up inside you. The world is full of hundreds of thousands of people who have fought off far more challenging events than you're going through. And I don't know what you're going through. I can imagine some things are like mine, or some things are like things I've gone through in the past. And I know there's a bunch of you out there that are going through way tougher times than I can even imagine. But there's always other folks that have fought off even more adversity than you're going through, than even you can imagine, and they've gone on to become really successful. And if they can do it, guess what? Yeah, go ahead and nod your head. So can you. Say it, so can I. Absolutely. So here's a couple of things I want you to do today. There are 2 things that you can really apply to the law of abundance, as it's called, right? I don't want to get too woo-woo, but it's what it is. First, I want you to take a moment and just kind of imagine every experience that you've had with money, right? All the good ones and all the bad ones. What lessons do you think you can learn from those, right? What special lesson was designed for you just to help you learn? If you can go back to when I got a big chunk of money, and we've all had something happen where we got this financial windfall, and next thing you know, it was all gone. What lessons can you learn from that, right? When were you able to financially do something you want to do. You saved money for that refrigerator. You're able to save up money for that car. What lessons can you learn from how you handled that, right? So think of all those experiences, good and bad, and what special lessons can come out of each one of those. You can write those down. Now I want you to do is analyze yourself honestly and determine what's your biggest block. What major self-limiting belief is holding you back from becoming as rich as you want to be? Whatever that is. And then resolve to act today, tomorrow, and consistently to chip away at that block until it's gone. Or at least until you can step over it or kick it to the side because it's so small and just laugh at it like, I beat you. Okay? And then become as rich as you want. So, I hope you're enjoying this week's free week of all week long. I'm trying to give you some good stuff to let you know this is the stuff that's inside every day. Well, 5 days a week anyway. You get the free one on Monday all the time, but I want to share this with a broader audience and let them realize that, hey, I'm not just blowing smoke on Mondays. I really try to give you guys some good stuff, right? So come on back tomorrow, and until then, I'll leave you as I always do. Think successfully and take action.